We have told you for a while now about the Dr. Dre, Nicole Young divorce, that it is just about as nasty as it gets. Well, it reached a new level earlier this week. Dre was burying his grandmother, and this is a woman who helped raise him, burying her in Inglewood, California. And now, according to our sources connected to Dre, as they were about to lower the casket into the ground, as he was standing by the casket, a process server involved in the divorce confronted him and tried to serve him with legal papers over attorney's fees. And it just created a huge issue over there.
Now, Nicole's side has a bit of a different story because we spoke with people close to her who say, look, they waited for that ceremony and the burial to happen, and then they got him when he was going back to his car at essentially what they were saying is a parking lot. So two big differences there, but look, it still happened.
It's still at the cemetery.
On cemetery grounds,
now,
right.
We will say that, you know, like Brad said, Nicole has her version and Dre has his. We checked it out with the cemetery, and they are saying that there was no parking lot around there and not really a parking lot connected at all to the gravesite. And the car was either parked by the grave or about 50 yards away. So it wasn't that far. But either way, Dre apparently was enraged that this happened. Didn't accept the papers, let him sit in the ground.
I understand that Dre's enraged, but this is a very bitter divorce. In order to serve somebody properly, you have to find them in a public place. You can't enter on his property. He lives in a compound. It's impossible to get there. The process server has a job to do, and that is to get this man served. If he was willing to accept service without this kind of thing, I'm sure he could have arranged for his lawyer with his lawyers to do that. So I get it; it's ugly, and I hope it didn't have it happen graveside while he's lowering his grandmother into the ground. I hope it happened closer to the cars, as Nicole's side suggests that it did. But regardless, the man has got to be served, and sometimes it is incredibly difficult. Harvey, you and I went to law school. We've heard these stories about the wacky ways people have to serve people sometimes, and sometimes it's ugly, and this is one of those cases.
So a couple of things. One is, that's a brave process server.
Yeah,
there are a lot of bodyguards around.
He has bodyguards. It's Dr. Dre. You're in Englewood, and there's a lot of factors in his way.
Next to an open hole in the ground, for God's sake.
Well, that's true, too. Now, a couple of things. Jason, help me out here, because I'm pretty sure in California, even if he doesn't physically take the papers, if they are put before him, that may constitute valid service.
He is served, 100%.
Yeah, he's served. The second thing is, what is behind all of this is not about Nicole so much as her attorney's fees, because the judge, there's a dispute over how much he has to pay her lawyers.
He had paid something like $300,000, and there was still an alleged $1.2 million left, and her attorneys wanted him to know that. It's not necessarily money he owed Nicole.
Now, he says he doesn't owe the 1.2. He says that he paid in full, and what they're asking for is some kind of an error that the judge may have made. She's saying that's not true. That's what's ordered. So there's about $1.2 million that Nicole is saying he has to pay her lawyers, but that's what this was about, just serving him with those papers.
Right, but the lawyers are going to get paid either way. It's who has to pay it, right? Nicole's going to have to pay the lawyers, or Dre's going to have to pay the lawyers.
Well, no. The judge has already ordered Dre pays the lawyer. The question is how much. He's saying it was $325,000. Nicole is saying, no, I got papers here that show it's $1.5 million, so you still owe me about 1.2. Right. He's saying no. So that's what it's about. But honestly, that's not why we're talking about it. We're talking about it because, wow, it's come to this.
At a cemetery.
Hey, Jersey girl, Brene BJ here. Dr. Dre, I send my deepest condolences, but gee whiz, at the gravesite, she couldn't wait for the repast? She's a savage. Savage.
Well, I got to say, nobody in a really bitter divorce like this ends up happy. It's just not the way to do it.